Hello and welcome to a video with me, Raindell. Today we're taking a look at the brand new Thanks for the Votes card that was handed out for free to all global players. As most cards of its kinds, we get the card for free, but we still need to build it. So we'll be taking a look at the stats and what you actually get from that card to see if it's worth it for you guys to build it, or if you should let it rest for now. So let's take a look. And first, let's compare the stats. And this is a card that gives most of its bonuses to water. So all of its abilities are water exclusive, so we'll be comparing it with other cards that are for water characters, right? And its main comparison would be with Siren, because they both give water attack up. So that's the first card we have side to side, but then the other ones are also cards that are offensive for water characters in general. So if we look at the stats, overall the base stats for Thanks for the Votes are not extremely high. 288 HP is nothing out of the ordinary. 130 attack is actually on the low end for an offensive card, right? It's a whole 34 points lower than Leviathan, so we could have expected a bit more there. What you do get, though, that is really nice is 5 agility, and that's a lot. 5 is a pretty huge amount, and there aren't a ton of ways to stack agility in this game, so this is definitely a big plus. So let's now take a look at the abilities, and that's where I think this card becomes a little bit interesting. So you, for water units, gain 15% HP. 15% is not a ton. For most units, it's going to be between 300 and 400. But we'll take a look at some specific examples in the next slide. And then specific characters, which are Zazan, Mont, and Elsirel, will gain 20% Man Killer. Unless you plan on running Zazan, I'm not sure how much use you're going to have out of that Man Killer, because you're going to have to run Mont or Elsirel in a water team with at least one other water party member in order to really benefit from that card. Otherwise, you're running this just for the Man Killer, and you're kind of wasting the potential party ability that you would get. So I don't think it's going to be an ability that you'll leverage a lot when you're running this card. Then the party ability is really strong. You get a 35 water attack up, which is going to increase the damage from every single attack from water characters, with the exception from a couple of them that are non-elemental, like Shuriken from Glaciela, or the holy attacks from Ildira. But in general, it's a very reliable way to increase the damage from your water characters. So that's a good point for it. And then its counterpart, the other card that gives water attack up, is Siren, which is a card that gives more magic than attack. So you don't really want to run a team with, say, 3 water physical attackers using Siren right now, because one of them is going to have significantly less attack. But with this card, it's more possible to run water attack up in a purely physical water team. So that's a good niche use for this card. Then you also get some accuracy up, which is always nice, especially now that we get EX jobs. EX units have a lot more luck than non-EX, so you might get a couple unlucky misses on those characters, and having accuracy will help leverage that, will help mitigate that even against non-evasion teams. And then the damage limit up, I don't think will be that impactful in most game modes. If you're hitting the damage cap, you're probably killing the target. And then it is going to be fun, though, for raids and other content where you have one specific enemy with a lot of HP and you can build chains. So it will be useful once in a while, but not very frequently. So what does 15% HP mean? And I brought up 4 examples on screen just to give you an idea. But EX units having a lot more HP than their non-EX counterparts will gain within the 400 range. So Tidus almost has 500 HP from that at 472. Zazan EX will gain 441. But then Glaciella at 99 has 375. And then a bit squishier character like Winter Victra will get 308. So still a nice boost. So we had a card with a 288 HP, which wasn't the highest amount, but with this extra bonus on top, the character wearing the card will actually be quite a bit more tanky. So it's a nice to have. So having looked at all this, is this card actually worth building, right? Because that's the question here. Well, it is cheap to max. We get the card for free, and with the bingo board that's giving us another 75 shards, you only need 200 shards to max the card. So that's a value of 10,000 Vision Ore if you're buying the shards. Not the end of the world, except that a lot of people have spent a lot of their resources on the time-limited stuff. And I do want to say, this card is not time-limited, so you could just slow build it. You don't have to go for it right now, even though it's always easier when the card is still featured, because you have access to it in shops a lot. So yeah, it's cheap to build. Then it gives the option of putting water attack up on a physical character, like I said. Previously, you would have to run Siren, which increases magic much more than attack, so now it's better for a purely physical team. Then the accuracy is nice in the EX world, where you will miss more frequently just because of the higher luck in general across the board. And you have now a card that can give more agility to one of your water characters, which is a really nice tool when you want to fine-tune your teams in auto and make sure that the right person goes first, for example. So that's a nice tool. But the reasons why you might not want to build it, I think, is because there's a lot of competition in terms of strong cards and strong water cards already. Like if you have built Suteki Dane, and then Leviathan, and then Astrologer, and possibly Siren, which you might already have, you already have a lot of options for water cards, and then you might want to run one card that's not water specific on your team. So you might not have a place for this card in most PvP builds. I think in PvE, having access to 5 card slots instead of 3, it will be quite possible to fit it in a lot of teams though. So depending on what you want to use it for, keep that in mind. You might build it and then realize that you just don't have a card slot on your team to run the card. And then the final drawback is all of its abilities are element specific for water units. So if you don't plan on running water teams, or if you already have a lot of other water cards, this might not be the best investment for you. So for me, I don't think I'm going to build it now. I will save my viz and slow build it possibly in the future when we have more medal events where we can build cards. There are other cards that I would prioritize over this, especially since I have a lot of other good cards, I think, for my water characters. So I don't even know if I would have a slot for that in my teams. So that's it from me, guys. Hopefully you found it interesting. It's a short video because we're just covering one card. If you learned a thing or two, or if it helps with your decision making, please like and subscribe. It will make it more likely that you see my videos in the future. And then, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.